Hey Slayers, this is Coach Felicia. We're counting down the top 5 episodes of 2022. Here is the number one episode. Episode 204, Are You Still Sitting in the Dark? You're listening to the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast with Coach Felicia, where we empower Black women to overcome their doubts, fears, and insecurities in order to give birth to their God-given purpose. Join me and sometimes some of my friends on our journey as we remind you that you are not alone. I'm Felicia Wallace, and together we will find our fears and slay them. Hey Slayers, welcome back to another episode of the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast. It's your girl, Coach Felicia. Welcome to all the new and continued listeners, no matter how you found me, whether it was by way of a guest episode, solo episode, you seen me on Instagram, Google, YouTube, wherever you seen me. Just thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the journey. If you haven't already subscribed to the newsletter, make sure you do that. You can go to the website and subscribe now. Announcements for this week. We got through graduation, y'all. Like I made it all the way through. It was a very emotional day for me, but it was a proud moment. I'm so happy for my son. I actually told him I wanted him to do an episode with me before we break for the summer to talk about just like him transitioning into this phase. I think that we talk about a lot of different things on here, and I know I have a lot of different listeners. Some are parents, some may even be teenagers. And so I think it's important for us to just have a conversation. So we'll probably do that later on. In the month. But yeah, it was such just a joyous occasion to be able to have, family come and celebrate. And, it was a few hiccups, along the way, but overall, I'm proud. I am. Oh, I'm so proud of him. And I can't wait for this next step and this next part and journey in his life is just going to look completely different. But I'm grateful for everything that God has done thus far and all that he will do. Remember that we have merch. So the link is in the bio. Journals are still on sale. Link in the bio. I mean, child keeps saying bio notes. Links are in the show notes. Everything in the show notes, y'all. Please, y'all, join the Facebook group. I want to start using that as a way for us to get to talk offline and me just not talk to y'all here. And I know for those of you all who are already in the group, talk back to me because I'll be in there and I said that don't be in there just looking. I need somebody to start something, like somebody say something, one person, okay? But I know it's going to take time. I know it's just going to be it's a journey and I get it, but I think once we get on it, you guys, and you see what it is that God is trying to do, it will it's gonna bless all of us. Okay. So if you were here last week, which I'm sure you were, you will know that this month we were supposed to be talking about finances and how self-doubt shows up in our finances. However, our guest subject matter expert that was supposed to join me for the month of do the IG lives with me had a death in her family. And it's very interesting because God works in mysterious ways. Y'all just know he's very intentional about a lot of things, but he works very mysteriously, right? So leading up to this month and leading up to preparing for the series, I was having so much of I don't know, not like I don't know, it felt off, right? Like I just can't put words into it. It just felt off. Especially because I felt like the last time he was like downloading stuff in me, leading me to do things. So I kept saying to myself, am I doing something wrong? Like, was I not supposed to talk about this? Like, I know I am, but what is happening? Right. And so because I was dealing with my own stuff, I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe it has to do with the graduation and all my emotional stuff that I'm going through. Once that passes, it'll be fine. And so I even felt like last week, like I felt like I was pushing through that. Like I was just, I wrote the stuff up, but I kept feeling like my brain was just like stuck. And so I saw that she had tagged me in a story. And so I go back to watch the story. And then that's how I found out that she had a death in her family. And so I'm like, now, wait a minute. Like, I don't want my whole thing always is that family comes first. first and foremost off the break anyway. But then also that I don't ever want to put myself or anybody in a situation where, you know, it is you are pushing through. Like I know what that feels like. I know what that space feels like when you're just not mentally, emotionally, when you're grieving and you're trying to push through for other people, and you already have stuff on your plate and people are having expectation of you to show up in a certain type of way. And so I reached out to her, and at first I offered her the opportunity to decline, and then I said, you know what, matter of fact, no, we're not doing it. We're going to postpone it and we'll move it to a different month, and don't worry about it. And she ended up just thanking me, saying, like, just thank you so much, because I realized what the Holy Spirit just says to me, like, what would you do if that was you? I'm like, if that was me, I wouldn't do it. Like, I would ask, hey, I know that I'm supposed to do this, but right now I'm just in a really tough space. And I feel like that I had to give her that time, because I wouldn't have felt right knowing that she was going through, because I could see it in her face, like as she was doing the live, like I'm like, she's not like, this just isn't the thing. And so one of the things that it was like, it wasn't the right thing to do. And so even as I was thinking about, of course, afterwards I was like, all right, boom, we're not doing it, let's move on. I was like, okay, Lord, well then what I'm supposed to talk about for the rest of the month, because I am completely like utterly, like, I had a plan. That's what I thought I was supposed to be doing. And it was just like, just little things. And so today, it may be we're gonna go back. I told y'all these last couple of episodes have been just me sometimes just like what's in the moment or whatever have you. But that moment and that interaction that we had, and knowing that, was just a reminder to me that you have to pay attention to what you're feeling. You have to pay attention to what's happening in your life. You have to pay attention to the space that you're in, because if not, you will be of like, there's no need to drain yourself. And like I said, we've all been there. I know that we all have, because I've been there, where I have intentionally put myself in situations that I know that I was not emotionally, mentally, physically able, or in the best place for myself and for the other person, right? And so when we talk about operating in purpose, like, God does not want the little bit of us. He don't want like the like when you when I think about it, like, how at the end of like the ketchup or whatever, and you like shaking it out and you just trying to get it, you hold it upside down, you bang on the side, and then when it squirts, it's like it's like it just splatters, versus like when you got a fresh a fresh bottle. But it just made me think, like, how often do we do that? How often do we just give people the end of us? How often do we give God just the end, like whatever we have left over? We talk, we hear people often say, people should be receiving your overflow. Like, that is how, anytime you do something, anytime you show up, it should be your overflow, right? Like, when I show up on this show for y'all, it shouldn't be like a struggle for me. Now if I'm thinking about like, oh, what am I supposed to say, right? That's a different thing. But my energy, my mood, my all of those things, I have to be settled. I have to be at an even keel for myself, or even over filled all the way up, right? In order for you all to get the best of me, because that's the only way that God is able to use me. But so often we drain ourselves for a multitude of reasons, right? It could be family reasons, it could be grieving, it could be mental health issues, it could be health issues, it could be so family stuff, like work stuff, it's so financial, like it's so many different things that causes us to be drained on a daily basis. Child, these gas prices, okay? Because I don't know what is happening. Like, I feel like we just had this conversation, and in a matter of a week, the gas prices has gone up like 40 cents. Like, I don't understand what people are doing. Like, what is, my brain is not able to compute like what is actually happening in real life, right? But I think the thing about it is that so many things are going to happen, so many things we do not have control over. We don't have control over the gas prices. We don't have control over when God is going to call his children home. We don't have control over reorganizations in your job. Restructuring is what they call it. That's when they hire and fire and move people, right? Restructuring in your organization. We don't have anything to do with you know food prices going up or transitions happen. Like, it's so many things that we don't have control over that we try to control. We try to control the outcomes of certain situations. We try to force our hand or God's hand into making something the way we want it to be. And sometimes that looks like procrastinating on whatever it is, right? Because if I don't do it, if I don't show up, or if I wait all the way to the last minute, maybe that person will, or that situation would disappear. Maybe that it'll fix on itself. But what if it's actually your thing, right? Like, then no, it's not that. But I think overall we have to do a better job of controlling ourselves. We have to do a better job of showing up for ourselves and really understanding that that's where our power lies. Our power lies in us and our connection to God, right? I have been doing this program and it's called Positive Intelligence. And it really has been so helpful to me because there's certain things that I've known about myself that I could put a name to it, right? Like, I know that I'm a controller. I know I'm a worry wart child. Let me tell you something. This DMV accent sometimes be messing me up. I worry a lot. Okay. And I know that can be stressful, not only to myself, but to other people. Right. And so throughout this process that I've been doing this, the focus I went into it the intention behind it was to be able to learn some stuff to be able to use with my clients, right? Because I deal with this slight self-doubt and your doubt and the things that are dealing with you, right? And so a portion of the program has to do with saboteurs and what your saboteurs are, right? And so for me, when I saw the list, I already knew which one was mine, and I knew, like, I was like, I can do this, and I can tell you exactly where I am, right? And so one of the things that kind of surprised me was the fact that I did it so often, like it became a part of me, right? Like, it's funny when you're like, yeah, I be trying to control stuff. And I told you all the time, my husband called me a controller, and he'll like sing the song, like, different things. And it's funny, but then when you really realize it, like, I got into a place where I was like, no, really, I really think that I control it. I have the illusion that I control the things that are happening or not happening in my life. And to some degree, that is an accurate statement. But for the most part, no, I don't. Because if I believe that God has already planned my life for me, which I absolutely do believe, in the path that I'm on and where it is that He would have for me to go, then I'm not controlling anything. My life is actually going in the direction that supposed to go in until I think I am controlling something, and then I derail the plan, right? And there are times where we could be doing something and God will have a thought, or He would drop something in you and say, this is what I need you to do, right? And an assignment, not a thought, but God will drop an assignment on you. And what I do, right? Because we're talking about me. What I do is I try to control the outcome of it, right? So here's this assignment. So let's keep it 100, because that's what we've been doing, right? So a couple of weeks ago, God dropped this assignment on me to do a 1-day workshop of a slang self-doubt 1-day workshop. It's not an official name yet, but you get the gist of it, right? And so I was like, oh man, like that first day that I thought about it, I was like, oh, that would be so dope. I know what I could do. This would be great. And there are times, like, I know when God gives me an assignment and I absolutely have to do it, because it doesn't go away. He literally like keeps prompting me, or He keeps showing me stuff, or something to come up. Like, it's too many confirmations and too many signs that come up to be like, girl, what are you waiting for? What are you doing? What are you not doing? All of those things, right? And so what I have been doing is, because I'm trying to control the outcome, because in my mind the outcome is all right, how do I make sure that this is profitable? How do I make sure that it goes on to the next thing? At the same time, I'm trying to control other people, like who's going to show up, right? I'm trying to control things that I don't have any control over. And in the meantime, I'm avoiding the work that I'm actually supposed to be doing, because here I am worried about the outcome, but I'm not even doing the work to get it done, right? And so um and when I say that, it means like, okay, yeah, you want to do this, but where are you having it? What are you talking about? What are the details? Do you have created a flyer? Have you created any takeaway stuff? Like all of these things that are actually my responsibility, I choose not to do it, right? Because it's a choice. Like, let's keep it 100. It ain't that we too busy. It ain't that we got other stuff. It's a choice, because I know that I need to do it, but then I choose to do something else. Oh, let me work on this. Let me work on that. Because ultimately, I'm trying to control what I think may be, well, God don't want me to do it right now. Maybe he want me to do it later. Or what I'm trying to do is I'm kind of procrastinate or avoid the whole thing altogether. But if I believe, which I already said, that I believe God knows the plan for my life and I have trusted him this far, why would I avoid doing that? Why would I avoid doing a couple of hour 1 day workshop? Do that even make any sense? It absolutely doesn't make any sense. But when you really think that you have control, you think you control him. You also think that you control what it is that you're really supposed to be doing. And so why I say the Lord works in mysterious ways is that this doing this series and having to do the series and also to do the IG live, although it's important, although it's something that he wants me to do, would have been a distraction, or had been a distraction for what it is that he really wanted me to do right now, right? I told y'all before that my pastor often says the key to obedience is speed. And if we can derail it by allowing certain things to come up and we say, oh no, this is important, I need to do this now. Yeah, okay, it is important. But if he tells you to do this instead of doing that, and he creates opportunities and spaces for this to happen, because immediately I was like, oh, well, what am I supposed to do? When the situation, but I knew in my heart that that was the right thing to do, right? That I knew in my spirit that I wasn't supposed to continue, because that wouldn't have been what he wanted, right? And so then it's like, okay, well, what's the next thing? Like I keep saying we, but I have this tendency that the minute one thing doesn't work, I insert what I want to do in between that. And this time, God was very clear, and it was clear to me that, like, no, it's something that he needs you to do. It's something that he wants you to do. And you can't control the outcome, because what it is that I have tried plenty of things that he's told me to do before, plenty of assignments that he said, I want you to do this. And then I try to do it. And then I'll be like, well, Lord, I don't know if this is going to work. Like, or I put it out there and nothing happens, right? But sometimes there's been steps that I actually missed in between that, because I'm just trying to rush it. And so in this situation, I really am saying, like, okay, God, you're giving me the space, you're giving me the opportunity, you're giving me the platform, like you're doing so many different things that's allowing me to be able to do this, right? One of the things that I think we have a tendency to forget is that we have a small amount of time, right? Like God's time is infinite. We know that he doesn't operate on that time. We talked about this before. He don't operate on our time. A day is like 1,000 days to him. You know what I'm saying? So, but we have a short amount of time to do what it is that we are assigned to do what it is that we are called to do what it is that we said when we said yes, that we were going to do it. This episode of the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast is sponsored by Mama's Mastering Money, the Society. Slayers, are you a woman looking to change your relationship with money? Do you want to break generational cycles of poverty, scarcity, and lack of money mindsets? Are you constantly struggling to get your finances in order? Do you feel like you're not good with money? Or does talking about money make you feel anxious and uncomfortable? If so, Mama's Mastering Money, the society, may be right for you. Mama's Mastering Money is a membership community led by money and mindset coach Tiffany Burns. Coach Tiffany and her membership help you unlearn negative or limiting money beliefs, overcome the fear of facing your finances, and build confidence to take impactful actions. Shifting your money mindset, unlearning decades of money beliefs, and shedding bad financial habits like procrastination, self doubt, and overspending takes time, patience, support, and grace. In this safe haven for purpose driven women, you will get the encouragement, motivation, coaching, and techniques to change your money story for you and generations to come. Slayers, if this membership is just what you need, go to www.thelotuslegacy.co/slay and join before January 1st, 2023 to get the limited founding members pricing. That's www.thelotuslegacy.co/slay. SLAY. And thank you, Coach Tiffany and Mama's Mastering Money, for sponsoring this episode of the Slaying Self Doubt podcast. Now, back to the show. The question is, why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we fully doing all the work? I told y'all before, I have this note on my desk that says, have you tried everything you can? You know, my husband asks me that whenever we have, you know, a conversation and about just like how things are going. And I'm like, how many times is my answer going to be no? Or how many times am I going to be like, well, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about doing that? It's about the action. Like there's so many things that we do not put into action and we don't do because of the way we sabotage ourselves, right? Like I told y'all, I knew that the way that I sabotage was like controlling and avoiding was actually mine, one of mine, and yeah, because I procrastinate and I know that. But the question is why? Why do we do that? There's so many different reasons, but everybody's reason is different. I think one of mine, as to the reason why I do that is because I do want this so bad that I don't want to mess it up. But it's also because of the saboteur. It's because I'm trying to control the outcome. Like I want it to be so perfect that I know exactly how it's going to end. But that's not how God works, because the Lord works in mysterious ways. Today, a friend of mine in our group text sent us a message and said she dreamed about our friend who passed away 10 years ago, actually, this year. And I've talked about her before on here, Angie. And she said she came up on her and gave her a hug and told her, you can do this. And, you know, we all were like, oh, just thank you so much for sharing that. And, you know, we just told her, well, everybody said something and I ended up saying, you know, that's God's way of telling us what we need to hear from a person that we need to hear it from, right? And then about an hour and a half later, I get a text message from my cousin who was like, what's the name of your friend Angie, her last name? And so she was like, was she a lawyer? And so I'm like, now what in the this can't be random, right? And so I tell her the last name and I said, yes, she was. And so my cousin's an AKA and Angie was too. And so she's like, of all the times I've been here and we've had chapter meetings and all this other stuff, she was like, and you know, different people have scholarships named after them, memorial scholarships named after her. She's like, I've never seen her name, but today I saw her name and I saw her picture and I was like, I know exactly who that is. And so even for me, that was like confirmation. And I just say out loud, I miss you too, right? Because whatever it is that we need, like God will send angels, God will send people, situations, things, opportunities, words, podcasts, sermons, songs, whatever. He will use whatever he needs to let you know that he got you. And so, as random as this podcast was today, because it was all over the place, I know it, and I keep trying to tell y'all, it's little pockets of stuff that y'all be having to get from me. Ultimately, is that You got this. You can do this. You can. Like literally, you can do this because God says that you can do this. He sent. I'm gonna share my angel with you, who came down and literally on today told us that we got this. And so all the worries, all the fears, all the the uncomfortability, the uncertainty, the insecurity, every single thing that you're feeling, that is normal. That is exactly what you're, but we have to put our trust in the one who has already created the plan for us. He knows the end. Like I told y'all, I've seen the vision, I've seen the end. I know that this is the beginning and I'm trying to get to the steps to get there, but we can't get to the end of what it is that God called us to do if we just sitting still. He's not going to give. I shared a sermon in, if you not connected to the newsletter, you should be, but I shared a sermon, um I think 2 weeks ago or last week, one or the other, that was called Motion Activated. And it was from a pastor within my church, Zion Church. And he said that God will not give you the next thing until you're moving. Just the same way, if you were to have like those, like doctor's offices. I know when in in my old offices, and they're all places, offices, when they a lot of places do this. They have motion activated lights. So that if you're out the room for a period of time or you're not moving, you ever been in a doctor's office as a patient sitting on the table waiting for the doctor to come in and the lights go out? I have, because you're not moving. Nothing's happening. Even though you're there, you are present in that space, occupying the space that you have, but because there is no motion, like you're sitting still, your hands may be moving because you're on social media, right? You playing a game, you doing something, but you're not moving around the room for the what are they called? Like the detectors or the, I don't know, the sensors to know that you're moving, right? And so because they don't know what you move, they just turn the lights off. How many of us are sitting in a dark room? How many of us are sitting on a table waiting for somebody to walk in the door and turn the lights on? Let me tell you something. I told y'all, every these joints sometimes be super random, but I can feel the Holy Spirit right now because I got goosebumps, right? We are sitting still in a room waiting for someone else to open the door. Nobody is going to open that door. You have to walk out of the room or move around so the sensors can come on. So the sensors are activated and the lights come on and you shine your light. So that is the message for today. Shine your lights. Activate the sensors. Turn them on. Get to moving. Do something, because the rest of the world is waiting for you. We are waiting for you. There are so many women who, over the course of these 3 years, have poured into my life in so many different ways. They don't even know it. Some of it is just them by showing up, being consistent every single day on social media, being consistent in their newsletters, being consistent in their work and their job and their and just doing exactly what it is that God called them to do. And it's been an inspiration to me. But you know what they're doing? They're moving. Like I'm sitting there in a dark room watching them move, wondering why my lights is off. Like, let's keep it 100. We sitting here, we talk about comparison, and we say, we don't want to compare and all this other stuff. But that's exactly what you're doing. You sitting in a dark room watching somebody else move, wondering why your lights is off, because you ain't doing nothing. So this is your this is your alarm, whatever it is you need to activate you, to tell you to get the moving. Go ahead and go about your business. Do what it is. Go be about your father's business. I heard that in a sermon one time. Actually saw it today in another post, and now it just came to me again. Be about your father's business. And that's a message for me too. I need to be about my father's business, because he is the one who is orchestrating all of this. Because at the end of the day, it's for his glory. It's for people to be able to see the God in you. But in order for them to see the God in you, you got to be moving. You can't be sitting still. So Child, that's all I got for y'all today. This is, that's all I got for me too. That just got me all the way together because sis was over here just, I'm playing around with my potential. I'm playing around with what it is that God is calling me to do because of my self doubt and whatever my insecurities are. But that right there, just I literally had a visual of me sitting in a doctor's office in a room on the table and the lights just go out and me looking around like, wait a minute. And then what we do now, y'all may say something, and everybody may say something different. We wave our hands, right? Wave our hands in the air trying to figure out because you don't know where the sensors are. Hey, okay, you don't know where the sensors are in the room, but you're sitting on the table, still not moving, but you're shaking, you're waving your arms. So you look like you're doing something. You look like you're doing something in the dark. You look like you're doing something in the dark. It is dark, and the only way that the lights come on is when you get up. And then you got to walk somewhere, walk until the lights come on. That's a word right there, y'all. I just want you to know. Walk until the lights come on. That's all I got for y'all. Again, as always, thank y'all for rocking with me. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. Take charge of your mental health and get 10% off your first month of therapy at www.betterhelp.com/slang, SLAYING. Grab a We Just Out Here Trusting hoodie or t-shirt. Get a journal for you, maybe a friend. Y'all get your journals, okay? If you're interested in working with me directly and figuring out what is your saboteur, figuring out why you procrastinate and all those different things, book a connection call with me. Okay. Make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter because you'll be missing out on sermons that you need to be listening to. Please share this episode with at least 10 people. We are trying to hit 50,000 downloads this year. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at Slaying Self Doubt. I'm also on a TikTok at Slay Self Doubt. They wouldn't give me all my letters, but I'm on TikTok at Slay Self Doubt. I ain't doing none of the TikTok stuff, but if you want it, I'm over there. Until next week, see ya. All right, y'all, that's all for this week. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to share, subscribe, rate, and review. Remember to head over to Facebook and Instagram and follow me at Slaying Self Doubt. Oh, wait, don't forget, go to my YouTube channel and watch this episode, and remember to press the subscribe button. Until next week, see ya.